Like, I can already feel like you guys are gonna like do cool stuff.
Into the motive.
Just being good to one another.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a good thing here.
The people at the top collaborate, you know, and the people that are at the bottom compete.
Yeah, it resulted in me shooting him.
I was charged with 109 and a 50.
Ultimately, you'll get to where you want to go if you push yourself enough.
I genuinely love this conversation.
I love the Motive Podcast.
Welcome back to the Motive Podcast. Guys, I'm your host, Leo Kosach, and as you can see, we're in a little different environment today, a little Airbnb in Fort Lauderdale. And guys, joining us today, Atlanta-based content creator, street interviewer, entrepreneur, amassing over 3 million followers across social media platforms. Guys, please welcome to the podcast, QuincyByTheWay.
Thank you for having me. The Motive Podcast.
Yes, sir. Quincy, I appreciate you being here. How's it been? Fort Lauderdale, you're down here for spring break. How long are you here for?
I'm here for like 8 more days now.
Okay.
So I've been here for 3.
Okay.
Or really 2. And we leave on the 22nd. I would say it's kind of, it's normal at this point because I've been here a few times already, but it's not bad. I'm just enjoying myself.
Do you fly down here from Atlanta, I take it?
Yeah, came from Atlanta. Really short flight, probably like not 30 minutes, 2 hours though, like a 2-hour flight.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of Atlanta, I just want to start, like, before we get into the content, anything growing up, early life, growing up in Atlanta, family dynamic, like where you came from and what was early life like?
Okay, so really this is in two places.
Okay.
I grew up in Atlanta and I kind of grew up in Ohio at the same time.
Okay.
So I was in Atlanta up until 6 years old. I was a bad kid, honestly. I think I got expelled like 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
I was, believe it or not, it's gonna be crazy, but I was in special ed classes because I was just so bad.
Okay.
Then I moved to Ohio, and I don't really remember too much of it. I just know Ohio has nothing. It's like a desolate land.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. And I was there for 6 years and I came back. Overall, my childhood was kind of, I wouldn't say it's your average, just below average. There was a lot of poverty during that time. Single mother, 2 other sisters. We were just getting it how we live.
Right.
But eventually I became like a straight A student.
Okay.
Just as a caveat to the special ed comment.
Yeah, where do you think, did that like motivate you being in special ed class, like want to be better, or where did you think you got yourself on track from?
I think really it was just, I never was supposed to be there, but I was just a kid that didn't really get a lot of attention, right? So then of course, naturally, you start acting up because my mom's at work. I was by myself. My sisters are sisters, they're girls. Yeah. So we didn't really relate that much. I was kind of by myself and I guess I acted out for attention, but eventually there was a moment where I got in trouble. I don't remember exactly what I did, but my mom had came to the school and she was just so pissed. And that day I was like, you know what? Let me actually get attention for something good, because it didn't feel good to finally get attention and my mom was pissed. So then I just committed to being a straight A student. And pretty much that's how my childhood went.
For sure. Where in Ohio was it?
Toledo, Ohio.
Okay, Toledo, and then where in Atlanta?
I was in a few parts. Norcross, Gwinnett County. Gwinnett for the most part. That's where I spent a lot of my time. Okay,
so overall, like, did you play sports, do anything outside of school?
I did pretty much every sport.
Okay.
Basketball, football, track, cross country.
Okay, wow. Were you like extroverted as a kid growing up? Like, was talking to people, talking to random people, like acting out, was that something that never scared you? Were you a little introverted and it came out? What was your personality like?
I was definitely introverted.
Okay.
I moved a lot of different places. I went to a lot of different schools, so naturally I didn't have a lot of friends. So I spent a lot of time just by myself, not talking to anybody, not wanting to intrude on the groups that already were established. Okay. So I kind of, for the most part, been non-social until maybe later high school.
Wow. Okay. So growing up, obviously, like the YouTube like content creation phase, I take it, was like in those golden years of like YouTube, that whole, it wasn't even streaming yet, but just the whole YouTuber craze. Like, where did you first see like content, and where did you who were you watching? What were you watching? Did you have any ideas in your head like, oh, this could be something I wanted to do?
I remember my earliest days was spent watching a bunch of Call of Duty. I don't know exactly which creators. The only one that comes to mind is White Boy 7th Street. I don't know, that might be before your time. Okay. White Boy 7th Street, I used to watch him. He was a personality in the space, and from there I kind of watched a few other gaming creators, like KSI, and obviously once you watch KSI, you start getting exposed to other mainstream creators, Logan Paul and
Right.
such and such.
Fellow Ohio boy.
Yeah. I wouldn't classify myself as a Ohio boy. No, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to claim that place.
Yeah.
But I would watch those people. I didn't really think I was going to be a YouTuber. I would post clips every once in a while of me going crazy, destroying everybody in the lobbies, but I never really thought it was going to be something.
Okay. So overall, it was gaming streamers.
Yeah, I was just super into. Obviously, since I'm isolated, I don't really have friends. I was just playing the game all the time.
Right.
That's what's my free time.
Okay. So. Yeah, for sure. So end of high school, you said you got a little more social. And where were you at in life overall? Where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to school, go to college, go to work. Like, where were you at the end of high school, life-wise?
So obviously, there's always the social pressure of what are you going to do, what are you going to major in, what college you're going to. I already had that figured out early on because I wanted to avoid people asking me questions. So I just went with something basic that could always expand into something else. Finance. I went to Kennesaw State University. My grades were good, so I got a full ride there. But I never wanted to actually pursue finance, right?
Yeah.
I started a bunch of businesses throughout high school, middle school, just random things like selling origamis, clear classic lawn mowing business, sell t-shirts. I always knew I wanted to create something, but I didn't know what. But like to just avoid anybody giving me any type of scrutiny or a hard time, I just said finance, this, that, whatever, and get out the way.
Okay, so you said Kennesaw State?
Kennesaw State University.
Okay, how was that?
Honestly, majority of the time I skipped class, I can't lie.
Okay.
I skipped class, and that was during COVID too. So I had 2 years that were pretty much remote.
Okay.
And I skipped class because I started making content. I was taking content more seriously. Right. But I still graduated, of course.
Okay.
Still did this decent.
I love that. So you graduated, you have a degree in finance right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I take it you haven't really done much with that degree.
Personal finance, counting my own money, counting the money up.
Yeah, no, that's great. So speaking of the content, like you said, you started making content, getting into it. So where did the initial idea come from? What was the plan? And why were you like, let's do this now? The whole deal of starting the content creation phase.
You know, life has a funny way of making bad things become beautiful moments. I had been posting for a while after making all those Call of Duty montages. I would branch out here and there. Maybe I'd do a skit or do a vlog, but I never really was trying to do anything. It would be a post once every year. Until 2018, I got into a car accident. I had the car for 10 days, right? My mom put her last little 4,000 or 5,000. This was a beat up Toyota, like 2010 from Hurricane Katrina. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. This car was trash, but I loved it. In 10 days, I crashed it. Of course, my mom's pissed, saying, I'm never buying you anything again. You got to figure it out. I had no money. I was in college. I was a freshman in college, commuting at that time, but now I can't commute. So I had more time at home just trying to figure out my classes. And eventually I figured, since I had already been doing a bunch of businesses, why not do another business, one that I haven't tried and I had, passion for, content creation. So I finally decided, let me take this kind of more serious, post consistently, and I made a TikTok. TikTok was very cringe at the time, right? I remember growing up watching Rice Gum roast Vine people or whoever was making videos, and I decided to do a little video like that myself, right? But I didn't expect to actually start blowing up on TikTok. I made a few TikToks just kind of roasting, bullying people on there.
Okay.
Just bullying people on there, but they blew up. And from there, I was like, okay, yeah, let's actually turn this into a business. People are making millions of dollars off of this. Why can't I?
Yeah.
So that was the moment. That car accident ultimately led me to start taking social media seriously.
So you were doing like reaction roast videos to start?
Yeah.
And how long were you doing that for?
I want to say maybe 2-3 months. I've done a lot of different type of contents.
Yeah.
I've done hair videos before. Okay. Back in the day, some people might know me, but I did some hair videos. Nah, I would just do you know what freeform is?
No.
You probably don't know what freeform is. So freeform is it was a hairstyle that was extremely popular back 2015, 2016. Okay. They also called it the Thought Boy haircut. Okay. But there was no good tutorials on it. And I was already into montage or showing off highlights. I was like, maybe I could do this with the hair and make a tutorial too. I don't know. But I did that for a month or two, and a video ended up doing 100K. Okay. So all these little moments kind of built more confidence on taking social media seriously. Okay.
So you're doing reaction videos, doing those type of videos, and that's all from the comfort of your room, I take it, or a house or whatever.
I was in I believe like the tax room, because my room had terrible lighting and I didn't have lights at the time. I think I was using a iPhone 5C as a camera. I would put up pots and books, a tissue box, put the 5C there, have this bust down laptop. I would record it using OBS, play the screen, watch the videos, react, and then put it all together at the end.
Okay.
And I did it for maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay, wow. So you're doing the content, you're in your house. Obviously it's more comforting, you're not like putting yourself out there face to face, and then expanding to like the street content. Walk us through that, when you did that, what was the mindset? Were you scared at first?
Right.
And finding the confidence to do that.
So it's actually crazy. We're gonna do a little time skip.
All right, let's do it.
Did the reaction videos, bullying people on TikTok, grew a little following on there. I actually was one of the first people to be verified on there.
Okay.
This was very early. So I got verified on there. I had a manager. I had 100K on there.
Okay.
That's really not that crazy in this day and age. Maybe I might be too used to it. Maybe other people might think that's crazy, but I don't think that's too crazy now. But because of that, I had a manager, and that same manager sent me an invite to an event in Atlanta for just regular TikTok creators, anyone who's coming up. And I met this girl there, I forget her name, but she had already been blowing up. She was affiliated with some of the people in the Hype House. And she was telling me like, yo, you have a good personality. You need to do some street interviews. Download this app. I believe it was, I'm not even gonna plug them, but it was an app on the phone. Like, oh, just download this app and just record the videos and splice it up, edit like this. So I said, okay, I'll try it out. My first video ended up doing like 2 million views.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I guess there's something here.
Yeah.
And I just kept going with that.
Right. And was that in Atlanta?
Yeah, so it was at this a creator event. I was talking to her, she said, you should get into interviews, and she broke down how she was making hers.
Okay.
And from there, like I said, I just posted my first one and it went crazy.
For sure. At first, were you like hesitant to do the street interview stuff, or were you like, this girl's reputable, she's telling me to do this, just go with it, and you were just kind of confident in yourself?
You know, actually, I'm missing part of my story. So I did an interview vlog back in like 2017 on my spring break trip with my friends PCB. We did some interviews there. That was like the only other time I did interviews. And then her saying that, since she was reputable and I had already tried it, I was like, I might as well try it on TikTok, because I did that on YouTube before. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
My story is
dude.
really crazy.
I love that.
It's a lot of different things that I've tried and done throughout the time.
I love that. So what year was that, the first street interview video that kind of popped off for you?
That was 2019.
Okay, 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
So did COVID kind of help your content overall, would you say?
Terribly. No.
Hurt it?
Yeah, because obviously since I did the street interview and it did 2 million views, just repeat it. Just keep going, keep doing more. At the height of everything, the virality, I also got flown out to LA for TikTok. It seemed like everything was in order. Then COVID happened. Nobody's outside. How am I going to do a street interview? I'm going to talk to myself?
Yeah.
So I pretty much took a pause on that for maybe, I don't know, 6-7 months.
Okay.
Just no content at all. Then I tried to just figure out other ways to make something entertaining. I branched off. I did some vlogs. I did some experiments. And then from there, we just kept trying stuff, really.
Right, dude. How do you think, like, why do people perceive street interviews so well? And like, obviously this is 4 or 5 years ago, it can be a little different now. Why do you think that content hits so well and is like organic?
I think at the time that I was doing it, even now, most of this stuff will still be true. People love seeing men and women interact. People love seeing authentic content. People love feeling like, even this podcast, for example, people love feeling like they're intruding on something they probably shouldn't be seeing, a conversation they probably shouldn't be hearing. And because of all of that, in a time where content was a lot of dancing, skits, people doing fake stuff, it just kind of resonated with anybody interested in human endeavor. Right. So I felt like it always just went crazy.
Okay. So overall, like, what was the reaction? Like, obviously you were getting views, and you started posting on Instagram. Like, your TikTok was popping. Did your Instagram follow as quick as the TikTok, or was it a little slower?
I actually didn't even start my Instagram until 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was a need to diversify until I realized TikTok can be unfavorable to people. And I realized that if I'm making this content and this other platform allows you to post the same content, why not just do that? It takes like another 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to catch on to that, but I eventually did.
For sure. How do you handle like rejection overall? Like between content, going up to people that don't want to be in interviews, and this can go for content, this can go for life in general, just rejection overall. Because I feel like people don't realize it's like, obviously you see the street interviews on the camera, one interview can take 20 asks to get someone in the video type of vibe. So, so how do you deal with that?
Rejection in general used to be something I struggled with. I used to feel like they were rejecting me as a person. This was very early on into doing street interviews. As time went on, I started looking at it as data. Like, why did I get rejected? Was it because of me? Did something I said? Could I be more social? Could I have better cues? And once I understood that it's never really about you, and you can only improve so much, there's really nothing to worry about. Plus, understanding the fact that 4 rejections and you keep going and you finally get that 5th success could be a viral video. You really have nothing to lose by asking.
For sure. I love that. And I want to get into like staying consistent as well. So obviously you've been posting consistent overall for a while and maintaining that discipline. Like where did you find that? And does that just come from passion? Does that come from results and seeing more numbers? And how important is staying consistent and keeping that discipline within the content world?
Okay. I would say the consistency aspect really came from always being a hard worker in a sense. And I felt like I had to be to make it out of my situations. Growing up, seeing my mom work hard, work 3 jobs, I had really no excuse. I'm living a better life than she is. Why can't I work hard and, for one, get good grades? Why can't I work hard and upload videos consistently when this is a dream job? You're getting paid to just talk and upload videos for people to watch. Knowing all of that, it really wasn't hard for me to be consistent. Plus, just having the natural passion for creating, it was something fun for me. I feel like consistency is definitely the #1 thing you need to have as a creator. You can have good ideas, you could be attractive, you can know how to talk, but if you're not posting, no one's gonna watch you. So you need to have that as a base level characteristic of yourself.
Right, for sure. I like that a lot. I saw on your Instagram, one of your philosophies was like create more than you consume.
Right.
Why do you think that's important?
I think creating teaches you what you like and what you don't like. If you're constantly consuming, you're just gonna be borrowing someone else's identity or someone else's interests. Until you actually go out there and make something and you watch it like, oh, do I like it? Do I not like it? You won't know who you actually are.
For sure. Yeah, I like that a lot. In terms of like staying disciplined and your habits, like on a personal level, how do you think that's important? Like physically, spiritually, whatever that may be for you, and what do you do for that to grow that both of those aspects?
Extremely important, especially being someone who has influence. I feel like it's only right that I have good stewardship. That includes being somebody who's disciplined, taking care of themselves, making sure they're speaking well, tapping in spiritually to get more guidance. You have to do these things in order to represent yourself well because people are watching you to get inspired. There's people that are looking at me wanting to start content. There's people looking at me asking for advice. If I'm not upholding myself, it's not doing a justice to the person that's actually needing wisdom. So for me, I feel like I would be cheating my audience if I wasn't taking care of my body, taking care of my health, learning more. In order to put those all into place, you do have to have a good routine. And it took me a while to develop one. Still, even now, I'm reiterating things, but I'm constantly trying to make sure I'm taking care of myself and taking care of the people watching me. Right.
Yeah. Did that like come as you got bigger in terms of like working out, like just staying spiritually healthy, or was that always something that you were good with growing up?
It wasn't something else that was good, but like anything, the longer you do it, the better you improve on it. Starting off, I had all those elements, but they weren't lined up in a way that was extremely optimal. So I guess over time, the first realization was the fact that the better I become, the more a follow is worth, or the more it makes sense for someone to follow me. That's a better way to put it. The better I become, the more it makes sense for someone to follow me. And after realizing I grew a large following, that's when I felt like I had the obligation to actually maintain a certain look, maintain a certain posture, keep learning so I can influence people positively.
Right. How do you think like your circle that you've built affects that? Because obviously I'm sure you've met so many people since you've been doing this. You've met people that are 10 times bigger than you, 10 times smaller than you, and everything in between. between. How important do you think keeping a great circle, meeting the right people, talking to the right people is?
Yeah, I think it is important, but I will say that I don't think I've really established an insane circle, to be honest. I have good friends around me, but I'm really someone who stays by themselves.
Okay.
Even though I do all these extroverted activities, at heart I'm still an introvert. Maybe I could even say I'm an ambivert.
Okay.
I mainly like to recharge myself and build things the way I like to build them. I never really get influenced by my circle to not do the right things.
Right.
So.
Okay. I like that. That's interesting. What do you think the hardest part of your journey has been so far? Whether it's in content, whether it's in life. I know you started out, you're working at Publix at one time, and now you're here doing this full time, all the time. What do you think the hardest part of your journey has been?
That's a great question, just because there's so many different answers I could possibly make. And at the time of any one of these events or moments that I could bring up, it felt like that was the hardest part.
Yeah.
But as you still progress, it's inevitable that you're gonna face growing pains. So I don't even think I've experienced the hardest part, because every time I go up another level, there's something else that is crazy that I'm dealing with in the moment. And then when I pass that, it's something else.
Yeah.
I can say currently right now, the hardest part might be managing a team, making sure people are as disciplined and passionate as you are, making sure that you're paying them well, making sure that they're convinced that they can really do something well in this company. So that might be the hardest part, setting up systems and managing. But as I go up, it's gonna be another thing. And that's just part of the process, that's life.
I love that. What did your mom think of this at first when you were growing? And this can be initially in like 2019 and obviously now, like what were her thoughts on it?
My mom does not use social media at all. Okay. So I just hit it. I didn't even tell her what I was doing, but eventually we got so big. I think this was around the time I hit 2 million followers, or not 2 million, I think I hit 1 million followers on TikTok at the time. And I had maybe like 60 million views that month on TikTok alone. And my mom's cousin ended up sending her, my mom's cousin's daughter ended up sending her one of my videos. And she's like, oh, this is my son. And then she called me, she's like, I didn't know you had this. Why didn't you tell me you had this? So she never really saw the come up, but she saw the success and she was happy for it.
Okay, I love that. What do you think the biggest misconception is for like content creators? Like we said, like the street interviews, you might ask 20 people and only get one yes. What do you think the biggest misconception is?
For content creators in general or for me?
How about both? How about biggest misconceptions people have for people who do content, and then some personal to you?
I think the biggest misconception that can apply to all content creators that people have is that it doesn't take a lot of effort to do. I think people have the assumption that anyone can just turn on a camera, post consistently, come up with ideas, and blow up. It's not something everyone can just naturally do, and even if you can do it, you need to be disciplined and you need to put a lot of hard work in. Just same way you would do a 9-to-5, maybe entry-level 9-to-5s. I will say there are jobs that are way harder than content creation. I'm not gonna say there's not. But for the most part, you have to put a good enough effort the same way you would for a regular wage job. And for me, I think the biggest misconception, because I am in a space where a lot of the viewers are, how do I call them? I don't want to insult the viewers. A lot of the viewers aren't looking for super thought-provoking things, and when they see certain actions, I can be perceived in a certain way. It's like, I want to use a good analogy here. It's like putting a diamond gem next to a garbage can. You're still gonna think it's trash most of the time. At first glance, you might have to look a little deeper and be like, oh, this is a real diamond. Is this fake? Is this real? Right? So I feel like because I'm in certain environments, I made certain type of content, people may not think I'm sophisticated, or I may not have any other competence to me besides just doing street interviews, social interactions. And I find it interesting when I talk to people at depth and they realize that there's more to me besides the videos. There's more depth, there's more sophistication besides the videos.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love that. Obviously you've talked to thousands of different people, strangers, whatever. Overall, like, what do you think mentally between like guys, girls, obviously you've done like some crazy questions. What do you think, like, where am I going with this question? Like, what do girls expect in 2026, and what do guys expect in 2026, and where are they clashing? Like, what's like some crazy stuff that you think girls have wrong? What's some crazy stuff guys have wrong?
Okay, yeah, that's a multi-part question. I'm gonna try to answer each part, and if I forget, I'll need you to re-say it. But the first part, I think girls expect a guy who's attractive, first of all, and this could be physical attraction most of the time, but this also includes personalities. Your personality is something that is appealing, charismatic. Then next, you need to be having a decent wage. You need to be making some type of money, have some style. It also depends where you're meeting the girl, right? Because some locations you might need better attributes in your game, your talking abilities, than you might need with resources, right? But for the most part, I think good paying job, nothing insane, just a job really. Be charismatic, be attractive, be respectful for the most part, at least early on. That's about it from what I've seen from girls. Although, because they may want these things doesn't mean they're actually going for these things. I feel a lot of times they get bamboozled. I feel like a lot of guys are it's very easy for them to put on a mask and get into the doors and eventually just turn it off once they get what they want. Girls need to have more discernment in that department. Guys, what they want really truly, I think, is just somebody who's going to be respectable to themselves and to the guy. They want to feel respected. They want modesty. I think modesty is a huge one right now in 2026. Guys want modesty. They're always complaining that these girls are hoes, whatever, even though they're really targeting the hoes. There are some modest girls, but modesty is a huge one. And I guess that goes into what guys get wrong. They think all girls are hoes or all girls are whores, but majority of the time, it could be a combination of them not being good enough to attract a good girl, or them being in the wrong locations where there is no good girls. You can't go to a bar and expect a modest woman majority of the time. That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
And girls, what they get wrong, I feel like, is what I was saying earlier, just the discernment aspect. A lot of people may put up a mask or they look attractive on the surface, but they don't have any competence, they don't have any good characters, good morals, and because of that, they get done dirty, and now they say, I hate all men.
Yeah.
They wanted all these things, and it looked like that guy had all these things, but you didn't dive deeper, spend longer time with him before you just gave up access, and now you hate all men. It just doesn't make sense.
For sure. Do you think social media's had a big impact on that and pushing these stereotypes?
100%, especially with the guys, I feel like.
Okay.
I feel like more guys have been influenced to think all girls are bad, and they're scared of being embarrassed by being with the wrong woman because there's so many clips going viral of girls cheating on their boyfriends or girls saying some crazy stuff, or this guy lost this much money after a divorce. All these things are making headlines to where guys are convinced all women are terrible.
Right.
Girls, I'm sure they have their influences as well. I'm not too much on the girl side of TikToks and things, but girls are actually very impressionable too. I feel like they'll do a lot of non-respectable activities, thinking it's good, thinking they get away with it. Feminism is really crazy right now, and they end up ruining their value in a sense, or they end up doing something that makes someone look at them a certain type of way and not take them serious.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you see like on our pages, and again, we're talking as guys here, but I feel like these girls are getting pushed like these untraditional values that they're perceiving as traditional, and it's like pushing them to do this crazier stuff where it's like it's almost more feminine to do something not crazy. You know what I mean? Like be traditional. And that's like being lost.
That's the biggest thing guys want, just a traditional, modest woman. And right now, there's so many negative, non-traditional activities being normalized. Even, for example, this could be very surface level, and people are gonna have their takes on this, but a girl could be in a bikini. She could have maybe 6 out of 8 points, or 8 posts are her in a bikini. Maybe one is from her from behind. That's kind of normal. Like, oh, she's just on the beach. Right. But really, you half naked all over the internet. That's normal, though.
Yeah, that's true.
If she was that same girl, if she was in Walmart in her underwear, oh my gosh, I need to cover up. Put you on social media for millions of people to see you. Of course, she's probably not getting millions, but a million people could see you, and you half naked, and you're not embarrassed. Yeah. Because it's normal.
It's true. You see the people, like, I love the people that post on TikTok and Instagram, like a trauma dump or something. They're like explaining the story, and it's like, oh, someone saw me do this, and then it'll blow up. It'll be up for my For You page, like 1 million people. It's just like, it's funny. It's funny.
There's so many bad things normalized, and women will fall into it thinking it's okay and they can still get the guy they want. And most of the time they still can, because most guys don't have a lot of optionality. So they just keep running with it. Most guys aren't in a position where they can get a better woman. And women are being influenced by all these things that are normal, so they just keep doing it. Yeah. It's a huge clusterfuck. That's the best way I can put it. It's gonna keep going, because there's nothing that's gonna stop it unless high caliber individuals, high caliber males eventually boss up and say, we're not tolerating these type of women, and they're making it public, and they're being good guys, good examples, and they're making that type of life aspirational. Same with women, not putting themselves out there, having discernment, eventually saying we want to dive deeper into guys' character and not fall into that. But until that happens, like, it's just gonna still be confusion on both sides.
For sure, I totally agree. So obviously transitioning from like the street content, recently you've been doing a lot of like informational content, advice content. Yeah. Where did that come from, and why did you want to get into that?
Yeah, so I think it tracks with just how my creative journey has always been. I've done a lot of different type of content. I've done pranks, I've done hair reels, I've done gaming content. I was never one to shy away from trying things, because you never know what you're gonna be good at. So I wanted to try different formats just for the sake of having a passion and feeling like I could discover something I'm better at, on top of knowing that I had more value to offer. I don't think I was doing the best I possibly could in influencing people. I felt like I was making entertaining content. People could relate to it. Some people could gather some information from how I'm moving. But overall, I wasn't providing as much value as I possibly could. I wanted people to really see that there is more to me and there's more to learn. I wanted to share my experiences. Like you said, I've talked to thousands of people. So most people don't have that opportunity, and they don't know what it's like meeting all these people. If I could compress some of the knowledge I've learned through all these people and share my take on it, maybe it might help somebody. Maybe they might understand me more. Maybe I might be able to monetize past this. So it was just something I realized, and I took initiative on it.
For sure. Is there anyone in particular that like inspired you, or like you modeled off of like the more informational stuff, or you just wanted to crank it out?
There's a lot of people. I wouldn't say one person in particular, but me personally, on my downtime when I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching informational type of videos. Yeah. So I could really go from Alex Hormozy to Jordan Peterson to Andrew Huberman. It's a bunch of people. Joe Rogan. I'm watching a lot of informational based things. Right. So I would say the collection of just my interests kind of made me approach information the way I do. Yeah.
Do you think that more like valued informational, like deeper content is kind of coming around, as opposed to like the crazier one answer stuff? Or do you think the crazier one line answers are still going to outperform the more deep, thoughtful content on the street or in whatever environment every time?
I think it needs to be a combination of two. Okay. I think just viral content for the sake of virality with no depth to it, that's still gonna get views, but not as much views if you could have that same packaging, but then encompass some value, some thought-provoking questions or conversation. Because at the end of the day, people always want to improve themselves, but they wanna be entertained. And people will not pay attention if they're not entertained. So if you can do the best of both, that's gonna be the most valuable content ever. Right. But let me rank them actually for you. So if you could have a hybrid post where it's entertaining and value, I think that will outperform all of them. Not only just in views, but also other KPIs, the comments, people DMing you spreading your brand. Then number two would just be regular viral content. It's still gonna get a lot of engagement, a lot of viewers, then information. I think most people just do information bad. It's very boring. Nobody wants to sit there and feel like they're in school again. Unless you're somebody who enjoys school. I feel like you're somebody who might have enjoyed school, or you like information, so you're probably gonna seek out content like that. But if somebody didn't really enjoy school, but they still wanna improve themselves, that's gonna be too boring for them. If they didn't enjoy learning, that's gonna be too boring for them. Right, yeah. I totally agree. And do you think like that helps to build like a long-term brand, and as opposed to like virality, like you were saying? Like if you can do that more valued and deep content, do you think that helps over the long term? 100%. I feel like people will remember you if you actually positively impact their lives. Most people could probably recall somebody doing something good for them. If you ask somebody, what's the nicest thing a stranger has done for you? They could probably think of a moment, and they still remember how they felt. They remember the person. if you can have that same type of effect on people through content, they're gonna be more tied to you. But people aren't gonna, you could say, what's the most entertaining thing you watch? People are gonna have to sit there and think, I don't know. Or what's the most entertaining person you saw? Like, I don't know. But if you ask them, what's somebody who helped you? What's the nice thing someone done to you? You'll probably remember that moment faster. And I think that plays into the content you make as well.
Right, for sure. How do you think your creative process has evolved from when you first started making content? That can be the reaction stuff, that can be the straight interview stuff, to now.
I think it has evolved into where I'm more intentional with what I'm trying to put out and who is actually gonna reach. Not necessarily saying that I can't have one-off spontaneous content here and there, but most of the time I'm thinking about a few things. One, who watches me regularly? What are the fans saying when they come up to me? What's actually going on in society? I've talked to a bunch of people. What are their problems? What are they dealing with? What do they need information on? What do they want to be entertained on? I add in my mission of just wanting to raise the standard of influence, wanting to show that you can win with good character. Good character can still win. Adding that into it, plus my taste, culture. I like things to be hard. I like things to look a certain way. I'm into hip hop culture. Adding all those things together, I try to make good ideas from that. But overall, it's still a good bit of just having passion for it. There's spontaneity here and there. The only thing that really changes is being more intentional.
Yeah, for sure. What's the future vision for the platform? That can be for you, that can be what you want to be known by, everything. Future vision. You know, that could always change. I definitely want to just keep doing what I'm doing and see where it goes. I feel like there's a lot of examples of people who have done information or have done entertainment content, and they got into certain points. And I can kind of see where they're going, but I feel like it would be different for me. But I just don't know what yet. Because I feel like I still haven't even gave everything I had to give yet. Right. I'm still testing out things. I'm still developing systems, still finding my tastes, reinventing myself over and over again until it reaches perfection, which is impossible. Right. So we'll see. Love that. What's your, so we always close with the same question. What's your advice to us personally? That can be in content, that can be in life. And what's your advice to the world, everyone else? I would say for you guys, like I said, I kind of just scanned your page for a little bit, and I saw you guys were very consistent. And you said you've been doing it for 3 years. I saw you were posting. You got an interview out that we did 2 nights ago already. It's on your page. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, so I would say, content-wise, work on making it entertaining via edits. Okay. The pacing. I would say make sure the pacing's on point, zoom's on point, packaging it in a more entertaining way, because you guys do have great information, but the editing could probably need a bit of improvement. And in life, I feel like you're already in a great direction. Have these interviews, dissect it, reflect on everything, and you're gonna constantly keep learning more and more things. You already had a few great guests on your podcast. For sure. Right? So everything I could tell you about life, you're gonna figure out very fast. So I don't even need to tell you. Appreciate that. Based on the path you're on right now. I appreciate that. Anything else to the audience? Anyone else not in content? The audience, I would say, have self-respect, develop discernment, ask yourself, and anything that you're doing, ask yourself, would your higher self want you to be doing this? Is this gonna take you to where you wanna go? And if it doesn't, you probably shouldn't be doing it, even if it's for a quick thrill, even if it's for short-term gratification. Love that. Yeah. We're out. Quincy, appreciate you doing this. Obviously, it's cool to do a pod down in Fort Lauderdale, and super insightful. So appreciate you popping on. This was fun. This is my first podcast ever. Hey, wow. This is my first podcast ever. So this is an honor. We here. Motive Podcast signing off. See you guys next week. Peace.